Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adana Bukishan Dizahami. So today I would like to present about how to be prepared for a job interview. So do you guys know a job interview is an interview consistent of a conversation between a job applicant and a representative of an employer which is conducted to assess whether the applicant should be hired. Interviews are one of the most popularly used devices for employee selection. Interviews vary in the extent to which the questions are structured, from a totally unstructured for freewheeling conversation to a unstructured interview which is an applicant is asked a predetermined list for questions in a specific order. So next is how to prepare for a job interview. So carefully examine the job description. During your pre-work, you should use the employee post job description as a guide. The job description is a list of qualifications, qualities, and background of the employer is looking for in an ideal candidate. The more can you equip yourself with the detail, the more the employer will be able to see you are qualified. The job description may give you ideas about questions the employer may ask throughout the interview. Second, consider why you are interviewing and your qualifications. Before you interview, you should have a good understanding of why you want the job and why you are qualified. You should be prepared to express your interest in the opportunity and why you are the best person of the role. Third, perform research on the company and role. Researching the company you are applying is an important part of preparing for an interview. Not only will it help provide content of your interview conversation, but it also will help you when preparing thoughtful questions for your interviewers. Researching the company and role as much as possible will give you edge over the competition. Not only that, but fully preparing for an interview will help you remain calm so that you can be at your best. Here are a few things you should know before walking for your interview. The first thing is you should research the product and service. Even if the role isn't directly related to the company product or service, you are still looking to the part of the team. It's important to learn all you can about the product or service to the company production and promoters. You don't necessarily need to understand each and every detail, especially if it's a technical product and you are interviewing for non-technical position, but you should have basic understanding for a main product or service to the company offer. If possible, request a sample of the product for finalize yourself with the customer perspective. The more you can tell them about the product for both company and customer start point, the better you will perform in your interview. Second, research the role. It's important to read a job description carefully and make sure that you understand all the requirements and responsibilities that go along with it. This will not only prepare with your thoughtful target questions and about the position during the interview, but it will ensure that you truly qualified and prepared to tackle the responsibility if you get the job. If it's possible, research similar position and read reviews from individuals in those positions so you can get an idea of what the day-to-day activities will be. The next one is Research for company culture. Modern companies usually have social media accounts and blogs that discuss their company's culture and industry. The information can give you impression of the tone and personality of the company as well as what they value. No matter how good the job scene, it is important that you fit within the company culture and share a similar personality and values. If you ask questions about the workplace environment, culture, personality, or value, be sure to ask during the interview. This question can range from the software and tool used by the company to their policy on vacation and sick time. Remember that the interview is just as much about you finding a good fit for your work environment, so that it is about the company finding the life. It is also a perfect opportunity to find out more about the company and show the interview how you will be fit. So that's all for my part. So see you next time.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Faidin Raini binti Jaini, and I will continue about how to prepare for interview jobs. Okay. Now that you have an interview, there are a certain things you will want to do in advance to prepare for it. Remember, you never get a second chance to make first impressions, so you will want to do your best on preparing for your interview in advance. First, pick out what you are going to wear on your job interview. What you wear on your job interview is an absolutely crucial part of how to prepare for a job interview. After you choose your outfit, make sure it is clean and pressed, and you have a upright accessory and shoes to go with it. It doesn't hurt to try the outfit on ahead of time. Just make sure everything fits on. You look great. Then put your outfit aside for a day of your interview and have it ready to go. Now that you have a career step out of the way, you can concentrate on the best. Second, practice creating your interview. You should always create your interview with a friendly smile and firm handshakes. If you do this right, you will set off the right energy and the chance of the interview will going well. This is a small and simple step that you should always do to prepare for your interview. Third is practice your answer to the most common interview questions. If you don't know what these are, you are research and find out. You'll see one of my other articles. You will want to have your answer ready and practice them. You should always be able to answer. Tell me about yourself and why do you think you will be great for this job? The employer doesn't know, so it's up to you to sell it. Don't completely memorize your answer to they come out issues. Rehearse. But have a clear idea of what you are going to say. When you are asked, you want to answer to come out intelligently and natural. Be open to other questions as well and ready and really know what you can offer for the company. Next, find out the type of interview you will be going on. There are reserved common types of interviews, just one, just as one on one group and behavior. You should assume you will get a certain one. Don't be afraid to ask your recruiter with what kind of interview will have. If you don't know, the interview will be more beneficial to both parties if you are prepared. Next is research the company and the job position you are applying for. Write down any question you may have about interest so you can ask during the interview. If there are requirements of the job that you unsure of, you should definitely ask during the interview. It always look nice when you go into an interview with intelligent questions. It shows you put effort in preparing for the interview. However, never ask questions just to ask questions. The interviewer will see right through that. Your question should be genuine and relevant.
Hi, my name is Siti Ansha binti Omar. My number matric is D17310-179. Okay, my first point is conduct more interviews. Just like public speaking, practice interviews is the best way to relieve anxiety and improve your confidence. Practice may be tedious, but repeatedly experiencing the interview process will make you more comfortable and help you give the right impression. If you have friends or family to help, conduct more interview as much as you can. If you don't have another person to help, practice your question and answer out loud. You may find that an answer sound awkward or doesn't convey what you wish when it's spoken. So this gives you an opportunity to refine your answer and commit them to a memory. The more you repeat the interview, the more confident you will be during the real thing. Okay, the next is print hard copies of your resume. Most employers ask for digital copies of your resume with the applications, but they may not have easy access to it during the interview itself. Having copies to present to multiple interviews shows that you are prepared and organized. You should have at least 3 copies to provide for multiple interviews, plus 1 for yourself to follow along. During your preparation, read over your resume and rehearse explanation for any gaps that may appear or other oddities. For example, you may have taken time off work to care for a child or family members, switch careers, or had other legitimate reasons for employment gaps. This can be concern for employers, so it's best to prepare your explanation to show them you are not at a risk. You may also encounter questions about your resume that are awkward. It's important to be honest but diplomatic in addressing them. For example, you may have left a job because your supervisor or manager or policies that you didn't agree with. But you don't want to speak negatively about a former employer. Consider this possible question and prepare your answer in advance, so you don't accidentally say something you will regret. Like the rest of the interviews, it is best to prepare for this question by writing notes and rehearsing your answer out loud multiple times prior to the interview. Okay, next is prepare your travel arrangement. Job interview tend to be stressful for most people for many reasons. But getting to the interview can be challenging in itself. If your interview is an unfamiliar area or even an entirely new city, it can be a source of anxiety to find your way around and make sure that you show up on time. To avoid becoming too anxious for your commute, prepare yourself to ensure everything goes smoothly on the day of the meeting. Okay, here's how. Here's how. Leave early. Okay. This may seem obvious, but it's better to leave with plenty of time to get to your interview. Even if it means arriving way too early, even if you leave yourself a few extra minutes to get there, small obstacle can be enough to make you late, such as heavy traffic, accidents, no parking, or trouble finding the building. Okay, if you arrive too early, just use the time to go over your notes and mentally prepare for your interview. Next, save the interview contact information. Even with plenty of time for your commute, sometimes a situation out of your control can still cause you to be late. If something happens and you know you'll be little late, call your interview coordinator and make them aware of the situation. Most people are empathetic to this situation and understand that some things just can't be helped, especially if you're letting them know in advance and have a reasonable explanation. In this situation, the worst thing you could do is show up late without any notice and try to explain yourself. Next, search the location in advance. Most interviews are scheduled days or weeks in advance, so you have time to research the location. If your interview is close enough, you can take a day to go to the location and check out the parking. Take note of the traffic and find the suite or office where your interview will be. If you're anxious about parking or any other aspect of the location, contact your interview to ask them for more information. Okay, the next point is sell yourself. One of the biggest challenges in an interview is selling yourself. Most people are uncomfortable with this idea, but presenting yourself accurately and positively doesn't have to feel like a sale. The truth is that you do have professional skills and experience that may set you apart from other applicants. So it's acceptable and expected for you to acknowledge them to your potential employers. When you prepare for job interview, make note of your skill that relate to the role and think how your experience and abilities can contribute to the overall goals of the department and company. Your answer will be somewhat short, so you want to choose the most positive and relevant information to share during the interview. If you have metrics or stats to show your accomplishments or growth during your previous role, they are a great help in selling yourself during the interview. For example, you may have increased sales by a certain percentage or increased social media engagement in your last position. Whatever accomplishments you have, don't be modest about sharing them during your interview. Your potential employers want to show that you be right fit and that you can deliver something to the company. So they need to know all the reason that you can provide to that for them. Next, I think the last point of my point, the last of my point is get ready to follow up after the interview. After your interview, you should prepare to follow up with the employer. Doing so reminds the employer of your conversation, shows them you are genuinely interested in the position, and give you the opportunity to bring up points you forgot to mention. Here are a few steps you can follow when crafting to follow-up note. In the first paragraph, mention the specific job and thank your interviewer. In the second paragraph, note the company's name as well as a conversation point or goal that seem especially important to the person you spoke with. Connect that point to your experience and interest. In the final paragraph, invite them to ask you any additional question and close by saying you're looking forward to hearing back. Read more follow email example for after the interview. Final tips. If you don't know the answer to a certain question, it is perfectly acceptable to pause for a moment and simply state, let me think about that for a moment. The employer will appreciate you taking the time to give them a thoughtful power. Be sure to provide specific examples wherever possible. Taking time to prepare for an interview will ultimately help you feel more relaxed and confident during the process. Thank you.